whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you all for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show. Can I just say, Kim McAllister straight off, like, Lori above the bar. Thank you so much for your $50 donation. She wrote, sorry I missed yesterday. Happy anniversary. Sasha, thrilled to win the box. Please open it and share with everyone. And if it's not too late, I'd like to offer a gift certificate to the runner-up. So I'm assuming you just want me to share what's in the box with everybody, correct?
If it's not too late, I'd like to offer a gift certificate to a runner-up, like a gift certificate to
the bar.
The bar.
There needs to be more bar gift certificates in my life.
Yeah, there does. Can you clarify, Lori, what you want us to give away? Because we'll give anything away.
I'll give anything away.
I want to make sure what we're giving.
Just cocktails. You get a cocktail. You get a cocktail. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lori, for the $50 donation. You guys were really generous on our anniversary show yesterday. Thank you guys again so very much. Well, the box and the names are over there. So when Kim does her headlines in a little bit, I'll grab the bowl and then I'll open the box. Does that seem fair? I'm not obviously the box is going to Sasha. See, I knew I shouldn't have wrapped everything individually. I did put cute little notes on it though. So, yeah. Okay, so we have a fun show coming up. Let me take this comment away, but thank you again, Lori. We're of course following the speaker vote. I was listening to the news yesterday, Kim, and while it's hilarious to watch the GOP just self-implode, right? Mm-hmm. The government's going to shut down in 30 days. And guess who needs to, help do that and keep it running is the House of Representatives. So we need to get it together. I don't know if it's going to be Jim Jordan. I don't want it to be Jim Jordan. I think that it's just who else is stepping up? I don't see this consensus candidate coming forward. Have you seen any? I keep checking. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries is getting votes, but not enough to win it. Oh, Lori says $100 gift certificate to the Red Jack.
Oh, wow.
And just show everyone what's in the box. What's in the box? Lori, that is quite generous.
Incredibly generous. Wow.
Thank you. So $100 gift certificate will go to the runner-up that I will pull after Kim's headlines. I'll go get the box. I'll show you guys what's in it. That's really awesome of you, Lori. Thank you so very much. I have a bit of a cold, so I'm going to be sniffling and coughing all day. My kid, kids are gross. I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. There's been this cold that's going around, not just my kids' friends, but my friends. And so I'm not surprised that I got a little bit of it, right? But when my son had it, I was like, and he's just such a lover. You know what I mean? Wants to snuggle and he's coughing in my face. And I'm like,
I'm getting
if mom gets sick, who takes care of mom? Nobody. But at least I'm not a terrible, no good, awful, terrible mother like you, apparently.
Oh my God.
I say that tongue in cheek. I don't actually mean that.
This whole scenario in my head played out a lot differently than it did in reality. So it's the middle of the night, right? And I hear a door open.
This is last night, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
okay.
I hear a door open and close. Don't know which kid it is, but somebody's going to the restroom. And I think to myself, as I'm laying there awake, kind of obsessing about war and not being able to sleep and whatever.
Okay.
I'm laying there and I think it'd be kind of funny if they open the door and the bathroom door and I was just standing there, and it would be scary for a second. I would make him jump and then we'd laugh about it and I'd walk him back to bed and whatever. This is a, mom's being funny kind of thing.
Right.
So I get out of bed. I creep past the kids' bedroom doors are right across from each other. And I realize it's Jacob that's in the restroom. So I go and I stand in front of it and I kind of stick my tongue out like in a, weird face.
Uh-huh.
I hear him wash his hands. Nice job.
Good
Well
job,
done. Good
Jacob. There you
parenting.
go.
And he opens the door and sees me. And, he's half asleep, right? And he
Yes.
screams bloody
Oh,
murder and starts
baby.
crying. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm the worst parent in the world. This is not funny at all.
Stop.
So then I had to walk him back to his bedroom and put him back to bed and climb in and pet his back until he's, like stopped freaking out. And I'm like, oh my God, I scared the holy bejesus out of my kid.
Yep.
And made him cry. What kind of a
Yeah.
mother am I?
A fun one.
That
So-
did not
gonna
go
Jacob.
like I thought it was gonna go at all.
No, I've done that many times. Dylan more than Marley. But I'm one of those people, like my husband will do that to me all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm one of those people where it takes a second for my brain to register.
Right,
so he'll
right.
jump out and I'll just like look at him and then I'll
freak out.
scream,
Mhm.
right? And so
Yeah.
I've done that to Dylan, my son, so many, and he hates it. And he's done that too. He's like, Mom, stop. And I'm like, I'm just trying to freak you out. Or like I'll just stand there and he has like to turn the light off in the family room before bed. So it gets dark. And I'm just standing there and then he'll turn the light off and be like, ooh, and he's and he knows it's me, but it's just something about it. Are we terrible parents? I'm sorry. Like,
And so then
it's just
he
funny.
screams bloody murder, and I put my arms around him and I say, it's just me, it's just me, it's just me, it's okay, it's okay. And then from the other room I hear my husband, what's happening? What's wrong?
that's
So I
so
wake up the
funny.
whole entire house
Good job,
because
Mom.
I think it's going to be funny to scare him. Yeah, good job, Kim.
Yeah, and now everybody can't go to sleep, and now that's your punishment. That's your punishment.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Lori just wrote in about my son being sick, and now I'm sick. Kids are petri dishes. It's so true.
Mhm.
That's why we'll emulate colleagues from Hong Kong and wear masks also during cold and flu season from now on. Many people from high density cities have been doing this for years.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned it because now while I could feel it in my chest, I need to take some medicine to kind of loosen it up and spit it out. I'm okay. I had a splitting headache and a backache overnight, but I don't think that had anything to do with the cold. I think I just slept terribly. But yeah, it sucks to get a cold this time of year. And then do you put a mask on? Do you say it's not COVID? My son didn't have COVID. I haven't tested myself. I don't think it's COVID. I think I just have a cold. It's going around. But I should put a mask on. I should put a mask on in the car with my kid. And then I'll get made fun of by strangers who have no idea why I should be wearing a mask. But anyway. Okay. Let's quickly do an update on Jim Jordan. He lost the speaker vote yesterday. I don't know what's going to happen, but they're really trying to guilt these Republicans into voting for Jim Jordan. He is not a likable dude. I don't feel like he's going to get enough votes unless he just wears these people down like Kevin McCarthy did. But listen to, who is this? This is Byron Donalds. You've seen him before. He's a Republican. About the pressure that they're facing to vote for Jordan, who, again, not likable dude. Here we go.
Quick question before you go. As Axios heading into all this was talking about the pressure campaign that had building to vote for Jim Jordan, some were anonymously telling sources that they were getting bullied into vote. Was any of that a turnoff for some of these members?
I believe it was. I've talked to a couple of members where they felt that that's just not what they needed. I don't think that's what we should be doing right now. And listen, for all of the voters in our country, I think it's important for members to hear your voice, and I totally respect that. But I think that there are members up here who they want to be able to make this decision on leadership and then move forward. I think some of the pressure campaigns have backfired. They have not worked. And so I think that right now, under the leadership of Jim Jordan, I would request that people just take a break, take a pause, let the members work and figure this out amongst ourselves so we can elect Jim Jordan as speaker, and then we can get back to work, the work that we have to do.
He is an election denier. He is a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs kind of guy, right? And yes, Liz, you're absolutely right. The wife of Republican Dawn Bacon reportedly received anonymous text messages and emails warning her husband to back Jim Jordan. Apparently, Bacon is one of 20 Republicans who voted against Jordan for speaker. Told Politico his wife received multiple anonymous emails and texts pressuring him to vote for Jordan. Okay, so this is what it said. It said, why is your husband causing chaos by not supporting Jim Jordan? I thought he was a team player. Cuckoo. Who is this? Oh, now you have nothing to say? And then they write back, your husband will not hold any political office ever again. What a disappointment and failure he is. And then the person writes, Bacon's wife, right? He has more courage than you. You won't put your name to your statements. Ding, ding, ding. This is not how you get people to come to your side. This is not how you win votes.
No, it's how he does. Yeah. It's how, there's this whole faction of Trumpy people. And they, you saw what they did, the poll workers. You saw what Rudy Giuliani did to poll workers as well, right?
It's so
intimidation and scare tactics. That's right.
So, I mean, what do we put in? What's the over under? You think Jordan's going to get it? I mean, I really hope he doesn't. I want someone sane. I can't even imagine the chaos that it will be. Because again, he doesn't have a full-throated support from his own party. So yeah, he might be able to wear these people down as like, fine, we need a speaker, we need to keep the government going. You think these people are going to give you an inch on anything else moving forward? You're going to have the same problem that Kevin McCarthy had. You're nuts. I don't know. It's so frustrating because the GOP has just completely pooped the bed when it comes to being, leading this country or helping lead this country. And it's all because they still continue to bow down to Trump and to the election lie. And it's so sad because it's like, can we just move on, please? Can we just move on? Well, that's true. Phineas says Trump bullied a nation. He got elected. But I feel like we're getting tired of it. I mean, when Trump, you were saying this yesterday, right? When he was talking about the judge and he's like, it's a witch hunt. Everybody knows the lines now. It's not new anymore. It's like when your kid, when you're a new parent, right? When your kid's like really upset and you're like, oh, no. Then by the 50th time, you're like, suck it up, buttercup. You're not getting whatever it is, right? It's like, I got it. You're not going to manipulate me this way, right?
But see, by the time, if we can fill in the blank and we know exactly what he said, it's ingrained in us. Then he said it enough that it's in our mind.
But we don't believe it. I'm not buying this whole nonsense anymore. I mean, at some point, not everything can be a witch hunt, right? At some point,
not everything's rigged. Yeah.
Not everything's rigged against you. At some point, people are like, they do seem to have an awful lot of evidence. and you don't, right? I mean, I can't imagine
that. A logical thinker. People aren't logical thinkers. People want to believe what they want to believe.
And the whole rhino Republican name only if you ever go against the majority, right? It's total BS. It's total BS. And I don't think that going along with Trump's nonsense and lies makes you not a Republican, right? Those two things are not the same. You'd be like, that guy doesn't deserve to be president because he tried to overturn a legal election and he's a liar and a cheat and a grifter. But I'm still a Republican. I still believe in X, Y, and Z policies. And that's the thing I feel like people have such a hard time with is that they agree with some of the things that Trump has said in many instances. They know that the Democrats do not agree with any of these policy positions that they have. And so the thing is, do we give it to the socialist Democrats or do we kind of continue to hitch our horse to the nutso wagon? And for many, sadly, they continue to want to stay with Trump. And that's just in my opinion. I always say this, my opinion. That disqualifies not only Trump, but everybody that supports him. And so that disqualifies Jim Jordan. He is not qualified to be a leader of a political party of the House of Representatives at all. So if the GOP makes Jim Jordan their next speaker, every single person that voted for him, in my mind, has disqualified them from being a true leader of this nation. I don't understand it. I really, really don't. Okay, so we'll just keep an eye on that. I'm assuming they're taking more votes today. There's more votes planned until obviously we get a speaker. I don't know how many votes it's going to take. How many days did it take for Kevin McCarthy? It took a while.
It was 15 votes, but remember they did them back to back.
Yeah, it was really annoying. It was so embarrassing too.
Yeah. Like, what do we have?
Like, I don't care. I will continue to humiliate. I just can't stand him either. This whole political party blows my mind. But anyway, so we'll keep an eye on that. Also coming up in the second part of the show, guys, we're going to speak with Loretta Lynch. We're going to update on PG&E. I want an update on that trailer bill, right? Remember, and our rates going up, but also this whole plan to bury so many power lines and why it's not a good idea in every location. But it's as if PG&E doesn't want to do the thing that's best for the ratepayer and for communities. They once again seem to only want to do what's good for them and their bottom line. All right, click the thumbs up button. Show your support for the show. The super chat is also live. Thank you again to Lori, who gave us $50. I will, during Kim's headlines now, go get the box, and I'll choose another name for a gift certificate to the Red Jack Saloon. Perhaps if Sasha, the winner for the box, wants to meet at the Red Jack Saloon, maybe other people can meet there. Maybe the runner-up will meet there, and we could all have a cocktail together before we separate. But so thank you again, Lori, for the super chat donation. If you want to continue to support the show, if you want us to hit many, many, many more anniversaries, please become an official Medorable and sign up on our Patreon link. You can find it at theNikkiMedoroShow.com. theNikkiMedoroShow.com. The Patreon link is right there. Also, in the About page on my YouTube channel, you'll find all kinds of links. There's the direct link to the PayPal on the YouTube links, the merch shop, everything like that. But you can also go to theNikkiMedoroShow.com and find it there. My email address, theNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. I try to make it as easy as possible. It's all pretty much the same. So if you want to make a PayPal donation, just hit send when you go to paypal.com, and the email is that email, theNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. A big thank you to Robin, who made a huge donation yesterday to our PayPal. Thank you so much for that. And again, we'll talk with Loretta Lynch in the second part of the show. Also coming up, Trevor May is a retired Oakland A's pitcher. He's a pitcher. And he went off on John Fisher, urging him to sell the team, which I thought was awesome. And I want to touch on this. Cursive is coming back to California classrooms. Let me know in the comments, do you think teaching children cursive is a good use of classroom time, or should cursive be taught either as an elective or outside of the classroom? Maybe if parents want their kids to learn cursive, they teach it on their own. You tell me, does it bother you in this day and age where we text and type so much that kids don't know not only how to write cursive, but read cursive? So you guys can let me know in the comments. Again, click that thumbs up button. We'll talk about all of that after Kim's news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
On the Nikki Medoro Show, I'm Kim McAllister. This report is sponsored by you, not by this guy. That's Jim Jordan. And right now, there is a vote for the Speaker of the House about to get underway. The vote comes after Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan failed yesterday to secure the support he needs to win the Speaker's gavel. Jordan telling reporters he's confident that he can eventually become Speaker, although multiple lawmakers have signaled they don't plan to back him in this second round. So again, the second vote for Speaker is about to get underway at the Capitol building, and we'll keep our eye on how it goes and let you know what the results of that are. Okay. Israel and Hamas, their war now in the 12th day. So far, more than 4,800 people have been killed. It's awful. Protests have broken out across the Middle East after a deadly explosion at a hospital in Gaza killed hundreds on Tuesday, people that were sheltering in that hospital. Israel says it wasn't their rocket. Nope. And they've checked all their systems, their operational systems, and it looks like it was from somewhere else. It wasn't theirs. So
yeah, it's just so awful, though. I mean, a hospital.
Yeah,
it's you can't even comprehend the tragedy that it is happening over there. It's awful.
Really awful. The Biden administration, by the way, is providing $100 million in humanitarian aid for civilians in Gaza and in the West Bank. The administration said it will help support more than 1 million displaced Palestinians with clean water, food, and medical care. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza has grown dire as the area has been repeatedly hit with retaliatory Israeli airstrikes. The main suspect in the 2005 disappearance of Natalie Holloway has now pleaded guilty.
Oh, wow.
Defrauding and extorting her family, not to the murder,
Oh,
but to the
okay.
defrauding and the extorting of her family. Joran Vandersloot entered the guilty plea today as part of a plea deal. A lawyer for the Holloway family telling NBC's Today Show one of the conditions of this plea requires Vandersloot to provide details about how Holloway died and how her body was disposed of.
Wow. That's
So he's
crazy.
guilty of fraud and extortion, and in making that plea, he's got to cough it up, the information about what happened to her and where she ended up.
I mean,
right?
but like, again, how would you know those things unless you did it?
You did it, right?
Right?
Holloway, of course, went missing while on a high school graduation trip in Aruba. Vandersloot and 2 other men were arrested in connection to the 18-year-old's disappearance, but were eventually released due to lack of evidence.
You know, and it always makes you, pause because obviously our daughters are in high school and senior trips, and after they graduate, going on trips. And these are the stories that like keep me up at night, right? It's just like, oh,
The boogeyman
God.
is out there, apparently.
Yeah.
Yikes. Insurance is going up.
Ugh.
And what isn't going up, honestly, but the cost of health insurance on the rise. The Kaiser Family Foundation released its annual employer health benefits survey earlier today, and the average cost for a family health insurance plan offered through an employer rose 7% this year in 1 year. The report says it's the highest rate increase in a decade, and that higher prices are likely in the coming weeks when employers start enrollment for the 2024 insurance plans. So, good things to look forward to when you get that insurance plan in the mail. In Los Angeles, here's what Speaker of the House ought to be, right? Somebody who can really whip everyone into shape, or maybe you disagree. In Southern California, Mayor Karen Bass has fired a commissioner after he delayed a vote on a homeless project. Eric Eisenberg was removed from the city's Transportation Commission. He was the president of that body. This comes days after he convinced his colleagues on the commission to delay a vote on a new temporary housing facility in West Los Angeles. Mayor Bass backing the project as part of her larger focus on solving the homeless crisis in Los Angeles. People who live in the area have shown opposition to the project, saying it will be built next to residential homes, and they're encouraged the commission to take another look at that plan.
It's so difficult. It's like, well, it has to go somewhere, right? I mean, I know
She's
that
like, no, you don't delay the vote. If you don't vote for it, you're off the commission. Get out.
There you go. I mean, we have to do stuff. I mean, it is a crisis. Everyone's like, we have to do something about the homelessness. And then when people try to come up with solutions for the homelessness problem, then they're like, yeah, but not there. It's so frustrating. And I understand. I really do understand both sides, but I would much rather have tiny homes, more apartment buildings. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. I know it's going to be a lot of people. I understand all that, but they have to go somewhere. They're here already. I don't know. It's difficult.
But also, if you're getting a lot of complaints about the proposed plan, what's wrong with just taking a beat and saying, you know what, we're going to table the measure for right now while we
because
look
it
into
happens all of the time, Kim. Because it happens you don't think that there's always going to be somebody complaining about them building more housing?
There's always going to be somebody, but what's wrong with just going, is this the best place for it? Let's just, before we approve it and move forward and break ground, then why can't we, verify, have all of our ducks in a row before we just, whip forward with something?
Well, how quickly did this project move forward?
I don't know the answer.
Well, see, so I mean, maybe it was too quick, and I'll give that person the benefit of the doubt there. But if this has been a project that people have just been fighting for a long time and they just don't like it, we have to do something, people. I'm sorry. You can't bitch and moan about something not being solved, and then when people try to solve it, you complain about the solution. What is your option? You can't round people up and kick them out of the state. It's just not going to happen. it sucks. I understand it, but we have to build more housing. We have to have a solution to this problem. And people dragging their heels is just going to delay and make the situation worse, in my opinion.
This guy.
What's that?
This is a Southern California school board president who is refusing to resign, even though he's had 2 DUI arrests and he's accused of having a foul mouth. His name is Matthew Serafin.
Well, I can put up with the foul mouth, but not the DUIs.
Matthew Serafin, he's the board president of the Val Verde Unified School District in Southern California. He was arrested and booked on DUI charges in August after allegedly crashing into a parked car. And then this last Friday, he was arrested on a DUI charge again. This time, he was also charged with hit and run. During the most recent Val Verde school board meeting, public comment focused all on Serafin. His arrests, his propensity for using profanity. Serafin says he not only plans to hold on to his seat, but he's running for re-election next year.
Oh, interesting. You know, if he gets reelected, the people have spoken, right? The DUI thing, I feel like, is bad judgment, right? If you have multiple, especially multiple, you said DUIs,
and recent, not like we've uncovered one from 10 years ago,
right?
No,
I have a problem with that.
And a hit and run,
it's like, whatever. And a hit and run, yeah, exactly. No,
it's one of these things where politicians no longer feel like breaking the law is
gonna have consequence.
Is grounds for not keeping your seat, and he's seeing it on the federal level. Look at Santos. He's like, what?
I lied. Who cares? Exactly.
Charged with stealing the credit card information of my donors. Really? No. I'll just go ahead and keep my seat and run again. No. Exactly. If you break the law and look at Trump, right? Running again while being charged with 91, 94 felonies, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
Listen,
they don't care anymore. They don't care.
They don't think that it's, that there's any moral compass or that you have to have any morality in order to hold a public office.
Yeah. Apparently there was an earthquake. Seeing it in the chat right now.
Okay.
Where are you guys feeling the earthquake? Let me know. I felt it too. I didn't feel anything. Did you feel an earthquake?
I felt nothing.
Ileton. I'm seeing on the Ileton.
I love the USGS map. This is what
I'm looking.
Ileton indeed, and it wasn't a little one. It was a 4.6. Wow. Oh, yeah. Okay. That was and Ileton is what, in the Delta in the East Bay?
Yeah, it's kind of like central. It's like in a little bit, right? So interesting.
It was almost. It was 8 kilometers deep.
Yeah, nothing in San Jose. I heard nothing. Just received. Yeah. Oh, you guys received an earthquake alert. I don't ever receive any of that crap, but I don't feel the earthquake.
You know what? My phone's dead, so I thought I hung it up last night on the little charger. And
how do you have a dead phone at 9 o'clock in the morning?
I know, because I thought I hung it up last night, but I guess I missed the charger thing.
Yeah, 4.6, 5 miles southwest of Ileton, California. Thanks, guys. There you go.
Yeah, so that's in the East Bay. I don't know if a lot of folks in the East Bay felt it, but usually that means they stop the BART trains and check the tracks and all that stuff. So yeah, 4.6. Thank you, guys. Yeah, in Ileton. Huh, okay.
All right.
Let's go to this donuts.
Oh, yummy.
You think that, but listen. Experts
don't tell me they're going to kill me. Is it going to kill me?
Yeah, everything's going to kill you. But here's this. We're talking about being addicted yesterday. Experts say ultra-processed foods are just as addictive as nicotine, cocaine, and heroin.
I was just listening to a podcast about this yesterday. Ultra-processed is not processed. There's a huge difference between ultra-processed and processed foods. Human beings process our foods so we can eat them. Ultra-processed is like this donut that you're looking at right here.
A new analysis of 281 studies across 36 different countries has uncovered what they're saying is a staggering 14% of adults are hooked on ultra-processed foods, or UPFs. UPFs include sausage, ice cream, soft drinks, sugary cereals. They've been linked to cognitive decline. Look at me, it's happening already. Cancer, psychological distress, and even early death.
Well, isn't that going to make you want to go out and get a donut? But they are delicious, so if you're going to die, no.
They are pretty. Look how pretty they are.
You have to limit it. I mean, literally yesterday, I was listening to the podcast about ultra-processed foods and how addictive it is, and it's very much an American diet. type of thing. One good test was, if it's wrapped in plastic and its ingredients are nothing that you would ever find.
Mm-hmm.
But also, when you look at the ingredients on some of this food, the reporter that was doing the story was talking about like crystallized sugar, something that he's like, that's just sugar. Like they use these words for things, and
Right.
sugar is not, it's in the diet. Like it's the over use of sugar in every single thing. You should eat as many whole foods as you can.
No.
But they were also saying the fact that we cut food, cook food, all those, that's a processing that we do as human beings. And so we live on processed foods.
Mhm.
That's not necessarily bad. When someone's like, I don't eat any processed foods, you're full of crap, right? Like you obviously, if the art of cooking in and of
Mhm.
itself is processing whole foods into something else. It's the ultra process, the plastic wrapped ho-hos, those sorts of things that are bad. So yeah, Nick,
They don't
delicious
sell
poison.
ho-hos anymore. I used to like a ho-ho very much, but mm-mm.
They don't sell them anymore? No ho-ho?
No
Oh,
ho-hos.
okay.
Lastly, this is going to be the Guinness World Record for the world's hottest
No.
chili pepper. It
I
is.
like
It's
my
just,
spice, but
It's just broken the record, so it has happened. It's
Ugh.
called Pepper X.
Ooh, Pepper X. Okay, I'm gonna
And
Google this.
you don't want it though, I don't think. Even Miss Spicy Spice over there doesn't want it.
Yeah, it's dethroned the Carolina Reaper, huh?
Mm-hmm. It was created by South Carolinian Ed Curry. It registers at just under 2.7 million Scoville units. That's the measurement scale for
heat.
spicy heat.
Yeah.
It's nearly 3 times hotter than the previous record holder, the Carolina Reaper, also created by Curry. Curry says eating a Pepper X is not an enjoyable experience. No.
I don't know why you would even want to create something like that. I mean, I understand. Like, how do you use a pepper like this? You guys can let me know in the comments. So I'll cook with habanero. I don't think I've ever cooked with the California Reaper, but so I'll make like spicy shrimp, and so I'll make some butter, and I'll just cut up a habanero, and I'll let it soak in the butter to make the butter really spicy, and then I'll cook the shrimp in that butter. And that's good enough for me. But with something like this, it's like, I don't know, do you just dip it real quick and add a little bit of spice? It seems like a waste. Why even create a pepper that nobody can truly eat? Like, exactly. John says it best. Why not just put battery acid on your food? Yeah. Like, what is the point of creating something that people shouldn't ingest? It just seems stupid to me, but oh well.
I mean, if that's your thing, if you're a botanist and you want to create these things, I don't know.
I guess, but again, and then whose job is it to, like, how do they determine the Scoville? I want to know that. How do you determine how spicy something is? Does someone have to eat it? That's a good question. I don't know.
Well, somebody did eat it. Yeah. Ed, who created it, also ate it. He said, the sensation of eating a Pepper X can only be compared to experiencing a napalm-esque burn. He said, I was feeling the heat for 3.5 hours. The cramps were horrible. I was laid out flat on a marble wall for about an hour in the rain, groaning in pain.
Why would I want to do that? I love spicy, but I don't want to be in pain. So apparently, to measure Scoville units using the original organoleptic test, I said that wrong, capsaicin oil is first extracted from the dried pepper. Samples of the extract are given to 5 taste testers, I would not be one, who then determine how many times the oil must be diluted to weaken the pungency. Each dilution is represented by a Scoville heat unit. So if it's what'd you say, like million Scoville units or something, that's how many times they had to dilute it. That's crazy. That is crazy. No, I would not. No. I love spicy.
2.7 million Scoville units.
No. Do you ever watch? We've talked about it on the show. The Hot Ones, where they eat the hot sauce on chicken wings, and then they do an interview. That's a really funny show, by the way. I think NSYNC was just on it with all the members of NSYNC doing it. It's really, really funny. But I like spicy. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to be doubled over for 3 hours. That's
how
stupid.
Unpleasant.
Yeah, like why do I want to do? It's like, let me take a hammer and just bash my head. And why would I want to do that? I'm not a moron. Exactly, Lori. It's like moron. It's like,
I'm not a moron.
Exactly.
This whole creating the pepper, though, it's
Yeah.
genetics, chemistry, botany. He said
Yeah,
if
it's
it
kinda
doesn't
cool.
work, we have to start all over again. It's a time-consuming, long process. So that's his thing, creating these very hot peppers. But, that could
Don't
really
rub your
hurt.
eye.
It could really hurt someone. That's awful.
I mean,
I mean,
I feel like they could
yeah.
make a weapon out of it, right? I
Yeah.
mean, pepper spray,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I mean, can you imagine if they made some sort of, I don't know, chemical reaction that you can use against people with this pepper X? That's dangerous.
Pepper X. Stay away from that. If you see that squishy little weird green thing, no,
Yeah.
don't do it.
Don't do it, people. Don't
You
do
can-
it at all.
You can thank us later. Nikki and Kim showed me what that thing looks like. I am staying away.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of. It looks almost like it's going bad, right? If you look at it,
it's gonna go bad really quickly once you put
Yeah.
that thing in your mouth. That is very true.
gonna go wrong. All
It's gonna
things
go
are going wrong.
all wrong. Exactly.
Well, this report is crowdfunded and it is sponsored by you. Thank you for all the ways you help the show. You can find us at thenikkimedoroshow.com. It's thenikkimedoroshow.com. Check out the website. You'll find the merchandise link on there, the podcast link, in case you need to take us on the run with you, like the olden days of radio. And you will also find our Patreon and PayPal links there too. So thank you. I'm Kim McAllister. This is the Nikki Medoro Show. Can I just talk about my name for a second? Because sometimes something happens when I say my name, and it comes out like Kim McAllister. Kim McAllister. And what I meant to say is Kim McAllister, not Kim McAllister. But there, I did it again. Okay, that's it. I'm out.
For someone that's called Mickey for so many moments in my life, I will let that go. I mean, Kimba is fine. Okay, so should I draw a runner-up for Lori's
$100 gift certificate?
I want a gift certificate to a bar. I mean, what a gift, right? It's like,
I'm telling you.
somebody else buy me the drinks. That's amazing. Okay, so yesterday was the anniversary. I do have the box here.
Oh, today is day 1, year 2. We're off to a good start.
There we go. There we go. All right, so I'm going to draw a name. I mean, the bowls literally was sitting right on the desk again. Everyone's name is still in here that bought a raffle ticket. And I will notify you if you get Lori's gift certificate that she's done for the runner-up. So let's see. I hate doing this again. I feel so bad that I can't give a gift to everybody. All right, this one. This is it. The name on this piece of paper is going to win a gift certificate to the Red Jack Saloon. Cocktails on Lori. All right, you ready? Wouldn't it be funny if it's Sasha again? Pamela Kirby!
Hey!
Pamela Kirby! I see Pamela in the comments all the time. Congratulations, Pamela.
Yay!
I hope you're close by. Yay! All right, Pamela. I will contact you also to let you know that you won the runners-up gift, which I'm sorry. It's a fabulous gift of a gift card to the Red Jack Saloon. So there you go.
$100 gift card.
Pamela Kirby, you did it. There you go. All right. Do you guys want to know what was in the box? I feel weird disclosing it, but Lori said I could.
Sasha wants to know.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, it was a really cute. I showed the box and how it had the red stuff over. Like I got this like really cellophane-y, shiny kind of stuff. Okay, so there's a lot of little things in here that I love. I'll put it back together all nice for Sasha. Don't worry about it. Okay, so first off, I mean, you guys have to know that there had to be something 49ers related in the box, right? So the winner gets, and I put little notes on everything. So this is a 49er beanie, and I got it in gray because I was like, you know, if you're a Niner fan, like why not? It goes with everything, right? And it says when you want to root for the best team, obviously. You got a $5 scratcher when you feel lucky, when you're feeling lucky. You got a $50 gift card to Makuni's, my favorite sushi place. And then I put my recommendations on the back of what you should order. You also got a $25 gift card to the Lazy Dog, where you get those deep fried deviled eggs that I love.
Is that only in San Jose?
No, Lazy Dog's everywhere. It's a chain.
Oh.
So
I've never seen it. Okay.
You've never seen a Lazy Dog? Yeah, there's a lot of locations. You got hold on, let me grab this. I don't want it to fall apart.
Where's Nikki?
You got my Moscow Mule. You can make your own with the recipe that I use. You got a Nikki Medoro Show sweatshirt. You got my favorite sleep mask. This is the best sleep mask. I use it. I also included some earplugs. So if you want a good night's sleep, the Manta sleep mask, eye mask, hands down the best one. The reason why it's so good is it has pads on the eyes, so it doesn't press against your eyes. So for people that want to open their eyes, but have the mask still on, you can still open your eyes. Also, ladies, if you have eyelash extensions, that's a good mask because it doesn't press on your eyelashes. Just letting you guys know. My favorite tea. These are the little things that I also included. My favorite tea, my Good Earth tea. Of course, you got the very first Medorable button. You also got, and now I apologize if Sasha does not have a potty mouth like myself, but this was the funniest button that I saw. Hold on, let me take it off. So it's like a spinner and it has the F word, and then you could spin it around to decide which form of the F word. So it could be like F me, F yeah, F off. So you could just decide how to use that. I just thought that was funny and very appropriate for myself. I got some, I always talk about this seasoning. The Slap Your Mama seasoning. I put some of that in there. I know that it might be cancerous, but I got hot tamales because it's my favorite candy. And I got dots. What else did I get? Yeah, we pack all this now. And I gave you the other copy, and it is signed of the Matthew McConaughey book with the other picture of me and Matthew McConaughey. So I put that in there as well. So I think that's pretty much all of it in this box. So yeah, I hope you guys like it. Neiman didn't like the lazy dog. I am telling you, did you try the deep fried deviled eggs? Now, I will say, everyone's opinions about restaurants are different, but I am saying those deep fried deviled eggs are so freaking good. And so that's why I put my recommendations on there. So that's that. Again, Pamela Kirby, congratulations. If you've never been to McCooney's, there's one in Concord. If you're in the Sacramento area, there's a couple up there, Roseville, Sacramento, those sorts. So again, a lot of fun stuff in there. So yeah. And yeah, Pamela. Yeah, woohoo. Pam, if you don't drink or want to hang out in a bar or not able to use it, we can figure out an alternative. Lori says, I'm easy, just happy to support. And Sasha has an Aussie potty mouth. Oh, she'll love that pin though. Yay. Very, very happy. I'm very excited to meet Sasha. And again, if she wants to meet at the Red Jack, I would love that. Lori, I think you said maybe she lives really, really close by. So that would be a lot of fun. And I'll come out. We're going to drag Kim McAllister out as well. Yeah, the deviled eggs are bomb at Lazy Dog. I haven't tried everything, but I will tell you, the last time I literally just went to Lazy Dog when I got the gift certificate, and I had the same waitress, and I ordered my Medoro mule, right? A mule, but with club soda. And she's like, I think I had you last time because you ordered the deviled eggs and you're very complicated, pain in the ass drink. So, yeah, so good. I'm glad you guys like the box. That's what's in it. And you know what? Maybe we'll do it again next year. Maybe before the anniversary, maybe, a different quarter. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys like it. I was a little nervous about everything to put in it, but I wanted big things and little things. And I definitely wanted to make it everybody's worth everybody's price of admission and price for the ticket. And yay, Pamela's here. Yay. So Pamela, again, I will reach out to you with Lori's contact information. I think that works. And I'm so glad that everybody was able to do that and take part in the raffle. And again, the generosity of you guys has been huge. It really has been. And because we're 100% crowdfunded, we need that. And yeah, the wait can be bad. We normally, Eric, when we went to, he says, last time I went to Lazy Dog, the wait was like 2 hours. So we went somewhere else.
They really are everywhere. I'm looking up on the Lazy Dog website. There's one
there's
in
a lot.
Concord and Cupertino and Dublin.
Well, that's why I wanted to get
Newark.
gift cards Yeah, my husband was like, McCooney's is kind of far. And I'm like, well, Concord's not bad if you're in the Bay Area. And then I know a lot of people that listen to the show are in the Sacramento area. And if you're in the Sacramento area, there's plenty. So, I mean, Southern California people might not. I don't think there's a one in Southern California.
I'm just talking about Lazy Dog.
Yeah, Lazy Dog has a ton of them. It's a total
They're
chain.
everywhere. I've never
They're
seen
everywhere.
one.
Yeah.
There's none in the North Bay. And there's none in San Francisco, so that's why I don't know it.
Well, you're going to just have to come on down a little bit
You're
closer.
gonna branch out, huh?
There
All
you
right.
go. So yeah, that's the box. I'm glad that you guys liked it. I think that, it definitely it captures all the things that I love.
Did they serve their dinners in foil, like at old TV dinners?
They sell TV dinners. I've never
Oh.
purchased them. I've never gotten it. I don't know, not a TV. But they do. Apparently they're really good. You can buy a bunch of them and then put them away and then heat them up. And that's kind of their shtick type of thing. So, but they don't do the deep fried deviled eggs. It's a deep fried deviled egg with a candy bacon on top. It is so
God.
freaking good. I mean, there's only 4 in an order, and sometimes I'm like, I hate sharing, but it's probably good that I share. But it's so yummy. Oh, and Eric, or pardon me, Nick's tried the TV dinner. Says they're really, really good. All right, there we go. So perfect. Okay. And Phineas knows Mikuni's best sushi short of Japan. I will tell you this. Do you remember, and I'm sure many of you remember, that whole sushi conspiracy that happened years ago where people thought they were paying for one type of fish and they were getting like a much cheaper kind of cut of fish, but they were paying the more expensive, and it was sushi places. And they bought a bunch of sushi from a bunch of different sushi places. And I believe I'm correct in this, the only sushi place where the fish was what they said it was Mikuni's of the ones that were searched.
Oh,
So,
really?
Mikuni's is really good sushi. Barbecue tuna, red and white sauce, the incredible roll, and the pit my roll. The Annie's really good. I mean, I'm telling you, you cannot go wrong by going to Mikuni's. It is hands down my favorite. Okay. Now I'm getting hungry, and I hate when I get hungry. Okay. Do we want, let's talk a little bit about cursive. Do you ever write in cursive anymore, Kim?
I do. And it's interesting because they didn't teach it in school. Julia did have a lesson on it.
Yeah.
But
So did
Jacob
Marley.
has not, but he wanted to write in it. So he kind of taught himself how to do it.
Yeah. I was actually talking to my daughter the other day. We're talking about babysitting and ways to make money. And I had just seen a TikTok video of someone that made a lot of money by doing calligraphy. And I was like, if you learn calligraphy or really pretty cursive, people will pay you, per envelope to do whatever. She rolled her eyes at me. I wasn't really making any sort of headway with that. But I write in cursive occasionally. My signature is in cursive. My daughter, I remember having lessons in it. I can't remember if Dylan did, but neither of them write in cursive. And okay, so Neiman says I only write in cursive. Liz says I do write in cursive. I learned it in school. Let me play you a little of this news report, because it is true that it uses a different part of your brain. But should we be using, and let me know in the comments, should we be really using valuable class time to teach cursive? Because, there's only so many hours in a day. Here we go.
Teachers. For 13 years, our teacher education programs have said cursive is not part of the standards. We have quite a chunk of teachers who have not taught it and who haven't needed to teach it, and some who probably were not taught it themselves.
An English and language arts private tutor said it's important to be open to different things for different kids.
A lot of the neurodiverse and learning disabled kids I've worked with actually do better with cursive. I've read that it has something to do with a different part of the brain, that's the same part that you use for drawing, and those flowing movements can really help the kids. They don't have to keep picking up the pencil.
Victoria Lara is a calligrapher based out of Napa and works throughout the Bay Area. 4 years ago, Lara turned her passion into a business and started Blossom and Ink Studio.
I do in-studio and on-site events. So I've worked with big brands, local businesses.
Lara said learning cursive has helped transfer her skill of lettering to engravings and wood burning.
Having something handwritten is it's a different feeling. It's a very emotional feeling behind it.
Laura said her son in high school wasn't taught cursive as much, and he's learned the skill more through her calligraphy.
Now he's used to it. He definitely takes him a little bit longer to read the note cards or whatever it is, but he definitely has gotten used to it now. And that's something that I told him, honey, like we need to work on your cursive.
In the South Bay, Lauren Martinez, ABC 7.
So, I mean, I see a lot of people saying it's part print and part cursive. That's kind of mine. That's my signature. I do all of my letters in cursive except my K's. I don't like the cursive K. I really don't. So I just kind of make it a K and I kind of go that way. I like writing in cursive. I know it's quicker, but if I'm taking notes, if I'm just jotting things down, it's print. It's just print, and it's kind of like chicken scratch that I can only read. Yeah, Kelly says, I learned cursive in school. My signature is still chicken scratch. I feel like because so many historical documents are in cursive, it is a skill that you should be able to read. I'm not quite sure it's something that we need to spend too much time teaching, if that makes sense. I mean, if you want to, if there's extra time, if it's an elective, okay. But, if it's taking away from something else, I'm not quite sure it's at the top of my list of things that I want my kid to learn. And if I really want my kid to learn cursive, then I'll make sure that my kid can learn cursive. They make so many different books with cursive that teach you cursive that I don't feel like we need to necessarily use it in the classroom. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Isn't it good for hand-eye coordination and
it uses a different part of the brain, like they mentioned. Yeah. I mean, but again, with all the things that kids have to learn in the classroom nowadays, is this the top of the list? Am I upset that they don't? I would much rather have, I'll say this. If we have to choose electives, I'd much rather have my child learn how to play an instrument, read music, than learn cursive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I had to choose, I would choose something else. I would choose art. I would choose music. I would choose something before cursive. But I do think that kids should be able to read cursive. I mean, how do you read the Declaration of Independence or something like that if you can't read cursive? That's what they wrote in, I think, right? I mean, a lot of it is in cursive. Vilma only writes in cursive. Wow. Just set a cursive font. There you go.
Just set a cursive font. Nice, Perry Jo.
Yeah, exactly. Brian says cursive is an important part of our language and culture. I can't believe teaching cursive is even in question. Well, it's not taught. They're bringing it back. So and I think it's the bringing it back that is the reason why it gives me pause, because what is that going to take time away from? If it's been gone, then there's obviously been a lesson plan that was there. Now we're going to take it away to learn cursive, something that, in all honesty, you have to use regularly to stay good at, right? Just like any sort of penmanship. I will say this, though, with the prevalence of Chat GPT, a lot of teachers are requiring students to write things out because they don't want the copy and pasting going on. And so penmanship, I think, is going to become even more important because of that, right? Like, you're going to have to learn how to write clearly enough for your teacher to read it. And then obviously, if you're going to do penmanship, then I guess you could fit cursive into something like that. I don't know.
Because you don't have to pick up the pen.
Yes.
It's quicker when you're taking notes in classes to use cursive. And so if you're a note taker, or if, you're going to go on in school, high school, college, whatever,
right,
and you're going to want to take a lot of notes, I mean, you can call it a lost art, but it seems like, spending at least a few days so that kids can at least know what the letters are and read them. And if not, use it if they want to, write more quickly. It just seems to me like, and you know what else I like about it is it's not, you see so much of, what kids have to learn in school is teaching to the test. Well, you have to know certain things by the time you graduate a certain grade, and the state is going to come in and test you and make sure that XYZ math and, English and what analogies are, whatever it is. But they don't test you on whether you know cursive or not. And so what's wrong with just learning something just to learn it?
Yeah. Exactly. But I don't know if we need to take a bunch of time out of the classroom to do that. That's my point. Janet says, I thought you had to sign in cursive for legal documents. How do people who don't know cursive sign? I don't think you have to sign in cursive. I think it's just whatever your signature is and that it matches, let's say, your driver's license or your ID. I don't think it has to be in cursive, but maybe that's just when you hear signature, people think cursive.
People
but it's
do
not
because,
not
and then
necessarily the case
there's
anymore.
always a form that says print your name here, just in case we can't
Yes.
read the cursive. So you
Exactly.
would think that it doesn't have to be in cursive. I don't know, but you're right, Janet. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We have Loretta Lynch waiting in the green room. We're going to talk all things PG&E. Burying the power lines. You think it's a good idea, but it's not a universally good idea. So we'll get an update from Loretta Lynch on that. Also on that trailer bill that has to do with our rates going up. Everything and anything that has to do with PG&E. If you have a question for Loretta Lynch, let me know in the comments and we'll ask her. Again, click the thumbs up button to show your support of the show. Let's get some headlines out of the way. And then Loretta Lynch, former president of the CPUC, is next on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Good morning to you. It's my turn, and I don't think I'm ready.
Oh, if you're not ready, we can go to Loretta.
You know what? I can be ready. I just am waiting for my screen to refresh.
I hate that.
I hate that too. Let's get an update on the earthquake though, because originally this earthquake near Ileton had been a 4.6. We know now it's been downgraded to a 4.1.
Okay.
It was centered about 13 miles northeast of Antioch in Contra Costa County. Again, right near Ileton. It happened just about 9:29 a.m. I love how specific they are. It was felt across the Bay Area. So we do know that a lot of people reported feeling that one. Again, 4.1 is what we know right now. Jim Jordan appears to have done worse in the second vote for speakership than he did in the first. That's a bummer for him. This is the second vote for the House. Following it live on CNN, it appears he's doing a little worse in this one.
Good.
The second round is still underway, but it looks like he isn't going to have enough votes to win the speakership. So this will be vote 2 that he has failed to secure enough votes, and it's not looking good so far. And as you mentioned earlier, it's really, it's the people that are paying the price for all this because the business of the people is not being done.
No, we do not have a working House of Representatives. I mean, think about that. Think about that. These and you know what? These people are still collecting their freaking salaries, right?
Yeah.
And it's so dumb. That needs to change. That needs to change in our constitution that these people will still get their salaries even though they're not doing their jobs. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is pretty ridiculous. And so here's what I can tell you is that the Biden administration is now going to provide $100 million in humanitarian aid for civilians in Gaza and the West Bank. The Biden administration says it'll help support more than 1 million displaced Palestinians, and it'll help provide clean water, food, and medical care. The president visiting Israel today, warning Hamas not to steal or divert the aid that the U.S. and other countries are working to funnel into that region. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza has grown dire as the area has been repeatedly hit with retaliatory strikes. President Biden also wants to secure financial assistance for Israel as well. Graham Nash, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, is selling his song catalog to the Iconic Artists Group. The deal includes his songs with the Hollies, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and his solo work. A statement from Iconic Artists co-founder Irving Azoff says they're thrilled to welcome Nash to the Iconic family, which now represents the works of all 3 members of Crosby, Stills, and Nash. The terms of this deal not disclosed. Other artists who have sold their catalogs to Iconic Artists include the Beach Boys, Cher, and Linda Ronstadt. So a lot of people, I guess they need the money or they are, coming down to the point where they want to sell it. That's where they buy it.
You know, what's interesting is like, Taylor Swift had sold hers and then it got sold
Mm-hmm.
to that guy that she hates. And so that's why she's been
Mm-hmm.
re-recording all of her albums, which in all honesty is now becoming quite smart because now you can not create anything necessarily new. You just go back, sing the new songs, maybe add a few lines, maybe make the song a little bit longer. And now you can make money all over it again and it's yours. So you could sell it, get all that money, and then re-record it and get the money again. So I mean, it's a
Yeah.
lot of work. I'm not saying it's easy, but that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. There is a roundtable discussion tonight to brainstorm solutions for Sacramento's homeless crisis. Well, it was actually held last night, rather. And they had a notable contributor. It was Anise Parker, who's the former mayor of Houston, Texas, who came to share ideas she says worked to reduce Houston's homelessness by 65%. She outlined her tactics of making different groups work together, directing funds toward the groups who were the most efficient. She acknowledged that building housing in Houston is easier than building it in Sacramento because of its regulatory environment, but she thinks Sacramento could improve its performance by implementing the things that she did in Houston. Bravo. I mean, we know that Texas has, because they focus on long-term housing and their focus is different than just getting people off the streets, but getting them off the streets for the long term, that they have been more successful in making more of a dent in their homeless crisis. And so if we can do what worked for them and spend less money doing it, yeah. Why
I
wouldn't
mean,
we?
we have so many regulations and so much freaking red tape in this state. That's what makes it so expensive. That's what makes it take so long. That's what the contractors don't like. It's all these requirements and it's, on one hand, you want the regulations because you want it built to code or environmentally friendly and doing the EIRs and all those sorts of things. And I don't know exactly what the difference is between, let's say, Sacramento and Houston, but red tape in California is what does us in every single.
President Biden says it appears a Palestinian terrorist group is responsible for that hospital explosion in Gaza that left hundreds of people dead, at least 500, according to Al Jazeera, I heard. While speaking in Tel Aviv today, President Biden said he was saddened by the enormous loss of life. He said the U.S. unequivocally stands for the protection of all civilian life during this conflict. Both the United States and Israel say a failed rocket launch by the Islamic Jihad terrorist group, which is a group that aligns itself with Hamas, hit the hospital in Gaza City. Hamas has disputed those claims and said the explosion was due to an Israeli airstrike. That's what we know. Meanwhile, a small but growing number of Democrats are calling on the Biden administration to push for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. The progressive House Democrats this week called for a de-escalation in this conflict to minimize civilian casualties on both sides. The IRS is going to test a free electronic tax filing system in 13 states early next year. The agency said hundreds of thousands of taxpayers will participate in this limited test. The first states to roll out the IRS direct filing platform will include California, Arizona, Massachusetts, and New York, as well as 9 other states that don't have an individual income tax. The IRS said earlier this year it was developing this free platform as a way to save Americans money. So I guess if you use the IRS platform, you don't have to pay for the H&R Block or the Quicken system or whatever it may be.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, wasn't there some sort of hiccup where people thought they had to pay and they didn't have to pay? There was all these free filing things also. So you got to do your research. Just don't think that you have to always pay TurboTax or H&R Block or anything like that.
And here's the question. It's a beta test. So if the IRS platform isn't good and it screws up your taxes, then is the federal government the one that takes the hit for that? Because I'm like, listen, pal, I used your software and you jacked up my taxes, so please.
Yeah. I would love it if the government would take responsibility for their mess ups, but that never happens.
I know we have Loretta Lynch waiting, so let me just do this one last story, and it is that X-users who open new accounts in the Philippines and New Zealand are now being charged to use the site. So now you've got to pay to use X in all its glory. The social media platform, formerly known as Twitter, said the $1 annual charge is aimed at fighting bots. A post in the X Help Center says they started testing a new program yesterday called Not a Bot, which is designed to reduce spam and bot activity. The new program will not affect existing users in those two countries, but once they start charging you and they have your credit card information, and then all of a sudden it's $10 a year to use Twitter, and then all of a sudden it's $10 a month, and then it's $50 and then
it's not that good of a site anymore. I would never pay a dime to
rolling
use it.
right down that road where everybody has their hand out for a little more cash.
Yeah, no thank you. No thank you.
This report is sponsored by you. Speaking of having your hand out, woohoo! Please find us at thenikkimedoroshow.com, the Patreon, the PayPal link. It's all there for you.
Yep.
And we're just happy you're here no matter what. I'm Kim McAllister. This is the Nikki Medoro Show.
And thank you to everybody for tuning in. So let's get into one of our least favorite topics, of course, which is the monopoly that is PG&E and the nonsense of this utility company that we absolutely despise. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. And let's welcome Loretta Lynch back to the Nikki Medoro Show. Loretta, thank you so much for taking time and returning and talking all things PG&E.
Thank you very much, Nikki. And hi, Kim.
Hi.
All right, so bring us up to speed, Loretta. The last time we had you on, we were talking about burying power lines and we were talking about trailer bills. Let's start with the power lines because the power lines have been in the news recently. Apparently, state regulators do not like PG&E's plan and price tag for burying all of these lines. Explain the situation for us.
Sure. So basically, the first principle with PG&E is follow the money. How are they going to make the most money? And they have figured out that instead of fixing their transmission lines, covering the conductor, which is the little piece that attaches onto the pole and then also onto the line. You just cover that with a very cheap piece of plastic or foam, and it really reduces fires. Or tightening those lines so that they don't sway and hit trees or each other. All of those are quick and easy fixes that don't cost much money. Instead, what PG&E can do is propose a whole huge new cockamamie scheme that will cost the ratepayers billions of dollars and boost PG&E's profits. And that's called undergrounding.
Yeah.
So what they want to do is take out perfectly good lines, some of them which they've just fixed, and rip them out and put them underground at extraordinary and excessive prices. And what does that do? It makes PG&E money. And that's why they're proposing to do over 10,000 miles of undergrounding. But understand, they have about 100,000 miles of transmission lines. And their 10,000 mile plan will take 10 to 20 years to actually execute. And in the meantime, we won't be any safer. It won't be more reliable, but they will pad their profits. So follow the money. They have created this whole new, scheme. They have a bridge to sell us if we want to buy it at excessive prices, instead of doing the hard and day-to-day work of fixing their system with the tried and true fixes that will actually prevent wildfires at a reasonable cost. And I have to applaud the PUC. They're saying, hey, this doesn't pencil out and it doesn't make sense, especially for undergrounding lines, some of which they just fixed.
Now, I mean, but let me stop.
It says that, right? It's also the Wildfire Safety Advisory Board. They've just come out this year with a big look at PG&E's wildfire mitigation plan and said, hey, you've got some critical deficiencies. And one of the big ones is PG&E's undergrounding plan will leave wildfire risk unaddressed in the highest risk areas.
Why are they not starting there? I mean, it seems there are some areas where undergrounding makes sense, obviously, right?
Some areas, yes, but a lot of areas, no. And a wholesale, let's just do it all because we'll make tons of dough. Absolutely not.
And we're paying for it, correct? I mean, it's not as if PG&E has to use their stock profits or anything like that. We have to pay for it, correct?
Absolutely. We pay for every dime that PG&E spends. And understand, we also pay for their profits. They say, oh, well, the shareholders are going to pay. Well, the shareholders are going to pay with money that we provided them. So every single dime that PG&E has, regardless of the bucket they call it, comes from you and me and everybody around us and our electricity bills.
So what can we do? I mean, so the state regulators balked at the price and the plan. Does that mean it's on hold, or is PG&E like, sorry, you don't like it, I'm still going to do it?
No, PG&E does have to get the regulator's approval to spend money if they want it to come out of the ratepayers' pockets. And of course, every penny they want out of the ratepayers' pockets. So they have this plan in front of the PUC to get the PUC to authorize them to do this work and charge us for the work that they're doing. And even the PUC is saying this is too rich and isn't really proven out, especially because the Wildfire Safety Advisory Board, which is now not even in the PUC anymore, it's over in a separate agency, the Natural Resources Agency, came out with a damning report of PG&E's wildfire mitigation plan and said it has over a dozen critical deficiencies. The backlog of fixing known problems is growing while PG&E pours all of its resources into tearing out perfectly acceptable transmission lines and undergrounding them. And even the undergrounding plan doesn't prioritize at-risk lines in the highest fire danger areas. It prioritizes what makes PG&E the most money. So we should all say yes to the PUC on this one thing and say, please do not rubber stamp PG&E's egregious money grab here, because it doesn't work. It won't make us safer. All it will do is raise our electric bills even higher.
Yeah. Is there a timeline on some of this? Because when I had teased this yesterday, someone was saying, they're constantly digging in my neighborhood, backing up traffic, doing all these things in areas in which this person did not think they were at the highest risk of wildfires. Like, why are they doing it here and not, in more of the forest lands and places where we imagine wildfire risk is much higher?
Right. Generally, what we've known from CAL FIRE is it's that urban wild interface. So it's not in the most urbanized of areas, and it's not even in the most suburbanized of areas. It's where a new suburb or exurb backs up against a forest. It's where there's a small community like Paradise in the middle of a forest in the mountains. That's really where that highest fire risk is, and it might make sense to do some undergrounding there. Although, has PG&E done the studies to figure out where the best places for undergrounding is, or where the best places for just covering the darn conductor and tightening the line is? Because PG&E still has not inspected each and every one of their transmission lines, but they're planning to rip them out and put them underground, even though they haven't even inspected them.
But it's our money. Shouldn't they have to do that? I mean, shouldn't they have to? It's our tax. It's our money. There should be, a fiduciary. I know it's not fiduciary, but they should use our money wisely, right?
Well, and that's where the PUC is supposed to come in to make them use our money wisely. But as we know, when PG&E was on criminal probation for blowing up people in San Bruno, California, we know that the federal judge there was trying to hold PG&E to account and say, hey, go inspect the lines. And the PUC at the time came in and said, hey, we got this. We're the regulator. Don't interfere with our regulation. And then essentially let them off the hook for inspecting those lines. So we now have PG&E customers across Northern California who've said, you've cut down healthy trees when you've left the bad trees. And why was that? Because they hired out-of-state, fly-by-night tree cutting contractors where they had a financial incentive to get the wood from the trees. So they marked the healthiest trees to cut down so that they could then sell the lumber. Can you imagine?
That is ridiculous.
And then those people went back out of state. And when the city attorneys and the DAs wanted to see what was going on, PG&E said, oh, that was our contractor. We don't have any of their records. Go find them. So it's really disingenuous. I would argue it is continuing criminal negligence, the way they are operating their company. Yeah. And the only people who can stop it are the PUC. And if they don't stop it, the governor and the legislature. And that's why we need to get our governor and our legislature involved. I will tell you one note of good news. Assemblymember Damon Connolly from Marin and Sonoma County was just appointed chair of a new select committee on wildfires. And so I really have high hopes that he's going to dig into this, because when he was first a lawyer, way before he was in the legislature, he worked for the California Attorney General's office and went after Enron with Attorney General Bill Lockyer. So I've been working with Mr. Connolly since then on trying to bring the energy companies to account. And he has new authority to do just that. So there's a bright note here if the legislature chooses to actually take it, to dig in the select committee and figure out all the ways. I mean, there's report after report. This is just the latest one. This is the 2023 report that says There are critical deficiencies in PG&E's wildfire prevention plans, critical, and recommends that the PUC not approve it until they fix those deficiencies. Because what they're not doing is they're not fixing known problems, they're not investigating to find additional problems, and they're not prioritizing undergrounding in places that need it most. Why? Because they don't know where they need it most, because they're
They didn't
not
do the research. Yeah, because they didn't do the research.
yeah. So it's kind of a, don't make me look and don't make me hear and let me do whatever I want.
Until a tragedy happens. Until a tragedy happens, right?
Well,
I
but
mean,
the
they've lucked
problem
out this year.
But the problem is, even when a tragedy happens, the PG&E is not held to account, because in 2019, the governor pushed a law through on an urgency basis, AB 1054, that changed the standard of liability. And as long as PG&E has this golden ticket of a wildfire mitigation plan certification from the PUC, then even if they were negligent, you and I pay for their liability. So one of the reasons the rates are going up so high is because PG&E continues to be negligent, has continued to be the cause of devastating fires each and every year for the past, 7 or 8 years. And you and I, and California businesses and every other family are paying through the nose for that negligence.
Yeah.
So there's no incentive for them to stop, because they're not on the hook for the payment.
Exactly. They have no skin in the game. That's so
No
frustrating.
skin in the game. No. And so, hey, if I had an unlimited checkbook and it was yours, I might tend to overspend.
You think?
Hey, if I had an unlimited checkbook and it was yours, and I got to take 10 cents out of every dollar I spent for me and put it in my bank account, I might think about a whole lot of ways to overspend, to take that 10 cents off of every dollar. And that's essentially the system we have.
That's so sad. Now, Phineas is asking, can a consumer sue the CPUC Consumer Affairs Branch in small claims court? Is that something that we can do? I mean, does the average person have any sort of legal recourse against the mismanagement of both PG&E by the CPUC?
No. What you have to do is you have to file a complaint at the PUC. They have to rule against you, and then you have to appeal their ruling. And very sadly, unlike every other administrative agency in California, that appeal, the appellate court does not have to take. They're not required to take it. It's a discretionary writ of mandate rather than an appeal as of right. And so often the appellate courts don't even take these cases because they don't have to. It's complicated law. Why should I learn it? We're already busy. And so the utilities have put the PUC in the catbird seat. They have very limited judicial review. They've got, they can bottle up consumer complaints for years, and they can let PG&E off the hook with just a slap of the wrist. And they do all those things. And that is the heart of the problem. That is why we have this rogue corporation that nobody is effectively regulating, that is picking our pockets every day.
And I don't know how much more we can pay. I honestly, Loretta, it makes me worried about the coming years. And I mean, like this year, next year. I mean, how much more money? I look at my PG&E bill, Loretta, and I'm just like, I don't know how much more it can go up. I can't even imagine for some of these people with bigger properties, it's astronomical.
Oh, Nikki, it's going up because they just got a rate increase that was effective this year of over 20%. That's why your bill is feeling so bad, because it just went up. But guess what? PG&E has already again asked for another rate increase of over 20% to be effective next year. And they told Wall Street, when they were bailed out of their bankruptcy boondoggle, they told Wall Street back in 2021 that the bankruptcy boondoggle settlement alone was going to require a 7% rate increase every year for 7 years just to pay off the bankruptcy boondoggle, just to pay off the bondholders and the shareholders and the lawyers and the financiers. Not one more whit of safety or reliability or cleaner energy, just to pay off all the
their
the
mistakes.
bottom feeders. And so, that 7% over 7% over 7% really adds up. Plus paying PG&E's excessive profits. They admitted in 2022 that they over-earned, which means they made more profits than they were authorized to during the pandemic. But instead of immediately returning them to their customers, they asked the PUC to let them keep them because, hey, the pandemic, that was literally their reasoning. The pandemic. So we should be able to keep these profits that were much more than you told us we could have. Guess what the PUC did?
They said, okay.
They said, okay.
Of course they said, okay.
And the companies statewide got to keep over $100 million of profits that they admitted were too high,
Yeah.
that they overcollected. So guess what's going to happen next year when they, might overcollect?
Do you think that Newsom, and a lot of people in the comments are saying, like Vicky, I try to appreciate Newsom, but really his stance on PG&E is inexcusable. I mean, you know how outraged people were about like gas prices and price gouging. Do you think this is ever going to impact Newsom enough where he is finally going to take a stand against the CPUC and PG&E?
Well, the good news is the PUC, well, the bad news is the PUC is continuing to try to kill off rooftop solar in California.
Right.
And they have a decision. They've had a decision on their agenda for the last several months that would change the way that schools, farms, and multifamily buildings, think apartment buildings, would be able to use solar. Right now, if you put solar on your rooftop like I have, I can use that solar and not pay PG&E for, right? So I use what I make first, and then I pay PG&E if I need more, right? Oh no, not for schools and farms and multifamily buildings. They're going to make it, the proposal will completely change that. And they will say for those kinds of customers, we are going to count every amount of energy you use as if you bought it from PG&E. And then we will minus out what you actually made yourself. But the trick there is when you buy from PG&E, you buy it retail, which is 3 to 4 to 5 times more than what you sell to PG&E at wholesale. So if the power that you made and you used is counted as coming from PG&E, guess what? PG&E will make money, and it will really kill off the ability for apartment building owners and schools and farms to pay for new solar because it won't pencil out. Now that decision
tricksters.
will just make PG&E more money. And so it will so the real problem here is that is an egregiously bad idea. No other state does it that way because it's just so stupid. And it's been on the PUC's agenda for over 3 months. And because of people calling the governor's office and their legislators, the PUC hasn't pulled the trigger yet. So let me just give you the number in the governor's office that one should call to complain. And that
everybody get your pen and write it down.
That is 916-445-2841, and leave a voicemail and say, stop the tax on schools and farms, stop the solar tax on schools and farms, and stop the monthly solar tax, period. Because the other big, whammy that's coming up is the PUC is close to imposing a monthly fee just for the privilege of being connected to PG&E, regardless of how much energy you make or how much energy you use. So before you even flip that light on, you're going to be paying $20 to $100 a month for the privilege of being able to obtain electricity from PG&E.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know how anyone can afford this. And there's no alternative. That's the thing that drives me crazy. I know some people are, get solar, get a battery pack. Not everybody can do that or afford that right now. And like you just mentioned, Loretta, they're trying to screw that too. So
I thought we were supposed to be have incentives to go solar. I thought they want us to go solar, right? They want us to go electric vehicle. They want us to do all of these things. And then when it comes down to making sure people have the incentives and are able to afford it and do it, then they're pricing us out of being able to make that happen. What's the point of that?
The point of that is we know the answer.
PG&E needs money.
Makes more money.
So like, how do we get them?
Meanwhile, the head of PG&E is
more money. Then it's working fine.
Meanwhile, the head of PG&E is flying around on a private jet.
Yeah.
And we're paying, we're coughing up money after dollar.
Well, more than that, Peppy Patty Poppy is on our televisions inculcating the idea that, hey, undergrounding's good. And you know why? Because PG&E will make more money and take it out of our pockets if they get their undergrounding gig passed. So we are paying for those commercials. The customer pays for Peppy Patty Poppy, the PG&E president, to be telling us what's best for us. And what she's telling us is, what's best for you, California, is when we make more money.
Give us more money, California. I just don't know how they do it with a straight face. Now, there was also what we were talking about last time was this trailer bill. Now, what is catch everybody up to speed on this trailer bill and how things are passed and how that changed?
Sure. So this is about that monthly tax to just have the privilege of turning your light on with PG&E Power.
Right.
So in 2022, there was a bill that trailed the budget. Basically, it's supposed to explain the budget, AB 205. And they stuffed this provision into the budget trailer bill of 2022 at the governor's request that would require the PUC to consider and adopt a monthly fee for the privilege of being connected to the utility system. And what they're trying to do is say, hey, we recognize that the costs are getting pretty outrageous. And we say, yeah, about time you recognize that. But instead of saying, hey, here are 5 tried and true ways to bring those costs down, no. They're allowing PG&E to make more money. What they've basically done is create a shell game about who has to pay for those outrageous costs. So they get that the lowest income customers is really breaking the back of those folks and working people. So they said, hey, come up with 3 tiers based on income of what you have to pay to be able to turn your lights on. And that's what the PUC is doing because they were required to do it by statute. And I would argue, hey, this is a really bad idea because they're not attacking the overflowing bucket of costs. They're just deciding which of the residential ratepayers, not commercial, not business ratepayers, are going to pay for those outrageous costs. And so in order to bring down the bills slightly of the poorest customers, they will raise the bills quite a bit of working class and wealthier customers. The problem is the way that they're starting to do it at the PUC is the wealthy customers are going to pretty much be off the hook because if you make more than $150,000, you will pay the same monthly fee. This is the proposal. They haven't adopted it yet. You'll pay the same monthly fee of about $80 to $100 as somebody who makes $150 million. And that's not fair.
No.
Especially because, a family of 4 who makes $150,000 in California,
it's not a lot.
That might be wealthy in Kansas. It's not so wealthy in California anymore. And so why should working class customers of PG&E pay the same just for the privilege of turning on the light as Elon Musk or Bill Gates, which are bad examples because they've left California, or Mark Benioff, right? That shouldn't be. And so the winners and the losers of this are the winners are going to be the really big users. So if you've got some spread out in Livermore, okay, fine, you're going to pay $100 more a month. Your bill's already probably outrageous because of your swimming pools and your sauna and everything else. High income people, because they're not going to pay relative to their income. And also the hedge funds and the consultants and all the LLCs, all the folks, the business folks who are saying, yeah, we're not going to get any more fees on our bill. Also, real estate speculators, lots of deductions. And this gets to, it's going to be based on income. So people who have artificially lower income, think Donald Trump, right?
Right.
Income from all of your real estate speculation, you get high mortgage interest and that lowers your income. All of a sudden, maybe you're not so wealthy on paper with the IRS. And so maybe you're going to slip into a lower rate because of the games you play with your taxes. But then that's really my biggest concern is privacy. Do you want PG&E to know how much you make?
No, I do not. No, I don't want PG&E to know anything anymore. Anything.
Do you want the PUC to know how much you make? Now,
they're not a state agency. They're acting like a state agency, but then they don't have any of the
oversight,
the oversight of the rules. Well, they're supposed to have oversight with the CPUC, right? But they don't have to follow the same type of disclosure rules or anything else.
And so getting, they're not completely tenured. They say, okay, well, then we'll create a third-party private corporation that you'll report to and that will do spot checks. Because the Franchise Tax Board, the actual state government agency that collects the taxes, said, hey, we don't want anything. We're busy. We don't want anything to do with this scheme. So don't look to us. So at the moment, the proposal is to create a third-party private corporation that you'll report your income to. What kinds of controls are on them to be
they'll get hacked or something,
and they'll do spot checks to verify your income. What could go wrong with that, and how much is that going to cost? So the losers in all of this are people who live in apartments or small homes who don't use a lot of electricity but are going to be socked with a big monthly bill, and also people whose income is between $60,000 and $150,000. especially those who have really taken steps to make their household energy use more efficient. They're going to get socked with a bigger energy bill for no good reason, which really provides a terrible backwards incentive to not care about how much electricity you use, because you're going to get socked with a big
Either
bill
way.
regardless.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's similar to water. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I reduced my water, and now all of a sudden I'm paying more because they need more money. What about somebody's also asking about electrification? They're saying trucking electrification. You know, obviously all these charging stations up and down California that Governor Newsom wants to do as he moves us off of combustible engines into I mean, this is all going to be part and parcel of something that I'm assuming PG&E is going to have a stake in.
Oh, PG&E has a big stake in it, and PG&E wants to control it. See, the exciting opportunity here is technology is advancing so fast and so far that some people can just do it by themselves. We could have community microgrids. People could go off the grid. People could charge you could use your electricity by plugging your electric car in and having your car charge your house, and then vice versa. There's lots of new options that did not exist even 5 or 10 years ago. But PG&E wants to squash those options or control them. That's what this decision that's pending on the PUC's website or agenda is about solar for schools and farms and apartment buildings. They don't want those kinds of customers to be able to be energy independent, because every kilowatt you don't buy from PG&E costs them money. And what's PG&E in the business of? Making more money. And so they are really trying to manipulate the regulatory system and the statutory laws to make them more money and make sure that they have their customers captive. And that's the problem here.
I don't know how we solve this, and how quickly are we going to start feeling I mean, obviously the rate hikes have already started taking place. As far as, you know, approving that tax on schools and farms and everything, like the solar tax. I mean, in your honest opinion, is there anything we are really going to be able to do about this? Or, because I'm feeling a little discouraged, Loretta. I'm being honest. I feel like no matter how much protesting we do, the governor's in bed with the CPUC and PG&E. He doesn't seem to be listening to any of us.
Well, the governor has now appointed all 5 PUC members. So it is the Newsom PUC, absolutely. But I take heart in the fact that this absolutely terrible decision has been waiting on their agenda for months.
Yeah.
If they felt comfortable in passing it, it would have been passed in the summer. And why don't they feel comfortable? Because of the big brouhaha that you and I and everybody else have been making about how terrible this decision is. So that's why I say, call the governor's office. Let him know directly 2 things. 1, do not have your PUC pass the tax on solar schools, farms, and apartment buildings. It doesn't make any sense if what you want to do is be a climate leader. But number 2, repeal the section of AB 205 that requires the PUC to put in a monthly fee based on income. It's a disaster in the making, and it's really going to, I think, hurt everybody who voted for it, and certainly the governor who proposed it politically when it takes effect, because you know the process of submitting and verifying income is going to be one big mess.
Yeah.
And people aren't going to like it. And then, of course, your bill's going to go up. So attack the real problem, which are the excessive costs and the excessive profits, and allowing PG&E to get away with a wildfire plan that doesn't prevent wildfires at top dollar. Stop that.
Yeah.
His own natural resources agency published this hundreds of pages report. This is just the executive summary that says PG&E's wildfire plan is critically deficient in over a dozen areas, and PG&E's undergrounding plan will leave wildfire risk unaddressed in the highest risk areas. Who in their right mind, reading just those 2 sentences, would approve this plan?
Exactly.
And that's what has to be stopped as
How
well.
many times does PG&E have to put money over safety until we finally understand they're not on our side at all? And, you know, they'll say this. You hear the spokespeople on every story, safety is our number 1 priority. But it isn't. It's cash.
I want to know how many takes it took for them to say that with a straight face.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because we know PG&E has lost the benefit of the doubt over and over and over. I would argue way before San Bruno, but certainly since San Bruno. They are a rogue criminal corporation, and frankly, they should be taken over by the government.
Absolutely.
It's the only way to stop this. But in the meantime, don't let them get away with even more. Just don't. Stop.
Yeah.
As President Biden says, just don't.
Just don't. Exactly. The number's on the screen, 916-445-2841. That's the governor's office. You call, you let them know how you feel about this, that tax on solar for schools and farms. And I don't want to seem like hopeless. I just want PG&E to be, broken up. I really do. I don't think that it's good for the state of California. I don't think that they do a good job. Do you think, and I know that this isn't going to take over entirely, but I know we talked about it before, San Jose trying to form their own power company. You have SMUD, you have other energy companies, electricity companies around the state of California. Is something like that even possible, do you think, in the near future?
Absolutely. Every state in the union has public power companies, not public utilities, which are really private corporations, but public power companies that are owned by either the state or a locality or a region. Every single state in the country. We do too. We have I think it's 24 public power companies. And when you look at their rates and what they do across the board, they are cheaper. They are cleaner in California, at least. They are more reliable and they are safer. And let's ask why. And it's because of profit. They are not making decisions based on what makes them more money or what costs them less money. They are making decisions based on the voters who either vote them into office or vote the people who appoint them into office, because they are there for the customer and not for the money. And so we could easily take over PG&E if the law was changed, because very sadly, Governor Newsom promoted another law in 2020 before some of these other terrible laws that would say, this was after one of the other, I think it was after the Camp Fire and the Tubbs Fire, where he said, okay, if PG&E does this again and is criminally negligent, then we're going to create a process to take them over, but take them over with just another private nonprofit corporation. And by putting that into law, that process into law, it actually makes it more difficult for a public entity to take them over. So that part of that law, it was called SB 250 in 2020, Senator Hill, needs to be repealed so that any government can take over this responsibility of providing power to its citizens. You take the profit out of it. It's not just that you reduce costs immediately by 10 or 15%, and I can get into why it's really 15% and not just 10%, but you also take this backwards way of spending money out of it, so that you don't underground the lines that you just fixed because they're the ones that you can make the most profit off of. You only underground the lines that make the most sense for safety and reliability. So as long as you've got legions of really smart people over at PG&E trying to figure out how to wring every penny out of us, then that is not going to lead to a safer, reliable system.
It's so frightening because it's, the lines are everywhere, and not only are the lines everywhere, and, we've lucked out this year with the amount of rain and our wildfire season. We can't bet on that all the time. And not only that, it's not as if it gets any cheaper to live in this damn state. And people are going to hit hard times just because they want to turn the lights on or just have the option, as you mentioned, of turning the lights on, which is just absolutely ridiculous. You guys have to call. And, I'm going to throw this number up every show. We should end it, Kim. Every show will end with this number so that because I feel like that is what might get through to Newsom and everything else. I want another governor that's going to take on PG&E. I want it to be more part of the platform of taking on PG&E and the CPUC, because this impacts every single Californian.
We should write, though, something in case people, sometimes people get on the phone and they don't know what to say. We should have a little blurb we should write. I don't know if you have one already,
email me something and I'll put it up there.
Well, and on this one, it's repeal AB 205's utility tax. Repeal it.
Repeal AB 205, right?
Repeal AB 205 has like 1,000 things in it, but repeal the monthly utility tax in AB 205. And then also, do not approve PG&E's wildfire plan until they fix it. Do not.
Do not
typing it
allow
all
the
in.
PUC to approve it, because it's not on their agenda yet, but it will be before the end of the year. Oh, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So that's where we're at. But
Do you think they even listen to you when you call
I know.
and say that?
Are they listening, Loretta?
Well,
Really?
that's why I'm saying I take heart in the fact that the schools, farms, and apartment building solar squashing has been on the agenda for months, and they haven't voted on it. And they haven't voted on it because of the huge backlash, public backlash they're getting.
Yeah.
And so public pressure can still work. And it's one of the few things that we all can do. And if enough of us do it, it's effective. So, it could be that it's just going to have to get worse before it gets better. But this is clearly right now, today, a big drag on our economy. And think of how many jobs we could create if we just hired enough people to actually walk those transmission lines and check out each and every one of them.
Yes.
Or cover the conductor of every single line, because there's a conductor on either side of the line. That means there are hundreds of thousands of uncovered conductors just waiting to spark and create a wildfire that we could cover for very little money and employ people. It's not rocket science to cover a conductor or inspect a line.
Yeah, it's so frustrating, and you just know that PG&E doesn't have us, in their forefront. It's them, their profits, and it's pissing me off so much. And every time I open up my PG&E bill, I was talking about it just the other day. I'm like, I don't know how much farther it can go up. I really don't know how much more I can pay, and it's scary. And I know people are bundle up, don't turn the heat on, don't turn the AC on, don't do any of those things. But we do need power, and either way, they're going to get the money out of us. So again, there's the number, you guys. Call the governor's office.
And today it's going to be 80 degrees in San Francisco and 90 plus degrees over in Livermore. And some people need the air conditioning to survive. So what we know is when energy markets first started being in vogue and Chicago moved to an energy market system and their power rates went way up in the 1990s, they had dozens of seniors die that summer because they couldn't afford air conditioning.
It's crazy.
And so this really is a health and safety issue when our electricity bills are too high. And at some point, it's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back of the California economy. So that's why we need to use our voices now with our legislators and with the governor to say, stop it. Just don't approve one more penny for PG&E until you pull out all the profiteering and all the over profiting and all the projects that don't work but make PG&E money. Those have to get off the books. And then let's look at what's left and how to accurately and fairly charge people for what's left, what's necessary, not what PG&E wants.
Yeah, and they just want our money.
Yeah. Lori wants to know
anything.
Lori wants to know if you have a website or some type of petition or maybe a sample letter.
I don't, but I would direct you to the Solar Rights Alliance because they're really tracking both this apartment and farm tax as well as the monthly minimum bill. So they have a lot of petitions and letters and things like that on their website because basically the more expensive it is for people to put solar on and the more punitive it is to buy or use solar, the fewer folks will put it on and the more will be captive to PG&E. And the more PG&E will make more money.
That's all. That's their slogan, Loretta. That should just be a PG&E. We just want to take your money. That's it. That's all we want to do, and burn down your towns and your and homes.
I often think of PG&E as the Grinch who stole Christmas, and he's in each house taking every single thing, and then Cindy Lou Who comes out and says, "Santa Claus, why?" And the Grinch takes the last crumb. That to me is PG&E.
Yeah, they're
and
awful.
Meanwhile, people are being priced out of California.
Yeah.
I have a family member who is getting older, wanted to move here to be closer to family, looking at the cost of everything, including PG&E, thinking there's no way I can afford to be a Californian again.
Nope.
Because of this. And people are leaving the state because it's too expensive. And we don't want that. So at what point does the governor have a responsibility to look at what's happening to Californians and say, I got to protect people from being, pillaged by PG&E?
Absolutely. It is inexplicable to me why the governor doesn't see the political benefit even
Yes.
of protecting consumers against these rapacious, unrestrained private utility companies. It would be different if they if we were in Hawaii and we were an island and it costs more money to be self-sufficient on an island, or in Alaska. They have higher electric rates than we do, Alaska and Hawaii. But other than that, we are some of the highest rates in the nation for no good reason.
For no good
It's
reason.
not like we have more clean energy than some of the other states that have lower rates. Because, for instance, LADWP and SMUD has a lot of clean energy, and SMUD's rates are half of our rates.
Can I get on SMUD? I was like, I used to have SMUD when I lived up there. I want SMUD
SMUD
again.
for California. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's just, it's frustrating because, again, there's no answer except what Loretta Lynch was just saying. People, you have to call the governor. You have to, and not just once. I mean, this should be like a weekly, if not daily thing of being this kind of thorn in their side, because unless it works for Newsom politically, I highly doubt he's going to do anything. I firmly believe the reason why he supports PG&E and the CPUC so much is because that benefits him politically. He gets money from them. I mean, there's no other reason in my mind that somebody who has a track record of standing up for Californians and doing what's right in other aspects can't seem to do it in this case. And it gets me so angry.
Well, and to be fair, it's not just this governor. Very sadly, California is a very pro-private utility state. The way our laws are written, the fact that the PUC has very limited judicial review, even though virtually every other administrative agency has judicial review of anything they do, not here. The fact that it's very difficult to sue the utilities without first going through the PUC. And there's a court case in the California Supreme Court right now to take a look at this one particular statute that says PG&E has the PUC. I get them mixed up because they look so alike. The PUC has primary jurisdiction over anything to do with utilities. Meaning, if your house burns down and you want to sue PG&E, can you? Right. Or do you have to go to the PUC and take what they'll give you, which is usually pennies on the dollar?
It's ridiculous. Loretta Lynch, I always appreciate your time and coming on. We'll have you back on because this is an ongoing thing. But again, I want to throw up the banner and the phone number again. So that's the number, 916-445-2841. Call the governor's office. Tell them to repeal the utility tax in AB 205 and do not approve PG&E's wildfire plan until they remove all of the profiting the PG&E is doing. And then again, Lori had asked, go to Solar Rights Alliance. There's a lot of information there as well. So, you know, I always want to say I love having you on, but it also makes my blood boil. I really like it. It makes me so mad, but we have to keep up the good fight, Loretta. And the way we do is by people like you that educate us on what we need to do. So I always appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Nikki. And, you know, we got to keep hope alive, right? It's for me, it's the only thing that makes the difference in a democracy is if we have this tool, we need to use it, because I do believe that people coming together can make a change, even when it feels like the system is just so stacked against us.
Exactly. So we have to make those phone calls. I'll continue to remind you guys. We'll have Loretta Lynch on again. Loretta, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, of course. Bye-bye. Yeah, it's just
Loretta Lynch for governor, because
right?
I need it. I need to have the.
I don't want to vote for anybody that's not going to take on PG&E. How about that?
You know, if she was governor or if she was in a position of, you know, like a powerful position, she'd have our back.
Yeah,
she'd have the back of the ratepayer, the consumer, the member of the public. She's thinking about people, and why can't, you know, people in government think about us? Why are they always thinking about how they can make the corporation more money so the corporation can turn around and give their campaign more money?
Exactly. It's all money. It's all money. It's all money. So it's frustrating. But again, you guys make the phone calls, write the letters, be a thorn in their side, be that squeaky wheel, because that's the only way things are going to get done. That's literally the only way that we're going to pressure the governor. And, you know, anytime the governor's out, there should be somebody protesting just this issue because it impacts us so much. Somebody else was mentioning Jim, who's after hearing Loretta, I asked myself, why do I not, I'm assuming you mean own any PG&E stock? It seems like a good option for a return.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, should we all just buy PG&E stock and kind of take it over? And
well, that's what someone was saying earlier in the chat, and I'm sorry I'm not giving you credit, whoever you were that said it, because it's kind of flew by, but might have been Vilma who said something about why can't ratepayers
buy up all the stock,
and then we'll have an input into the decisions that the company's making. Yeah.
I mean, and again, I don't feel like something as important as a utility company, because obviously they do gas and electricity, should have that much control. We have no other option. If I don't like Verizon Wireless, I can go to something else.
Right.
But we don't have that option here. I mean, we do have the solar and all that sort of stuff, and I get it. But now they're even trying to get off that. So again, let me put up the number one more time. 916-445-2841. Be a thorn in the governor's side. There's somebody that answers that phone. Unfortunately, that's their job. So they're going to take down all these messages, and sorry, that's what we need to do. So, all right, you guys, I will be back tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow's Thursday. I'm losing track of my days, my friends. Can you guys click the thumbs up button to show your support of the show? Please. Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
I do appreciate you all being here. I also want to say thank you to Lori, who gave us a $50 donation in our super chat, and also gave Pamela Kirby a $100 gift card to the Red Jack Saloon. So I've emailed the winner of the mystery box, Sasha. Hopefully we will set something up. And I'll let you guys know, honestly, if we're going to head to the Red Jack Saloon, anybody wants to go over there, meet Lori, have a beverage, say hi to me, see Sasha get her box, that'll be fun. That'll be a really fun time. Kim, you're going to have to come too.
Oh, I will.
Yes. So we'll do something like that. All right. Tomorrow we'll talk about all sorts of things. I have no idea. I'm going to bed because I got this cough.
Oh, you poor thing. It's interesting with the Red Jack. I feel like I've never been there. But
I've never been there
either. The minute
either.
I walk in, it's going to feel like home because I'm so used to seeing the pictures.
Yes.
I'm so, like, the minute I see it, I'm just going to go get so excited and just be like, I'm home at last. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited to do this. And again, I'm just waiting for Sasha to get back to me, and I'll let you guys know what day it is, and whenever works. So I just thank all of you guys for supporting the show. Again, click the thumbs up button. That is the thing that YouTube helps us to grow this show. Tell your family and friends. Make sure you're subscribed. Become a Medorable. Go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. Sign up for any amount that you can afford, one time a month in our Patreon. And we really do appreciate you guys so very much. We depend on you. So thank you. All right. Stay here. Mark Thompson is next. Happy what?
Year number 2.
Oh, yes. Happy year number 2. We're in it.
Thank you.
We're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of it.
We're in it to win it, my friend.
All right. Mark Thompson's next in the After Party Live, and we'll talk tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're all so the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.